Just plug this in. As always, the scary part, right? Amazing. Check that I'm actually live. Still the tech stuff, all right. So, quite quiet. This is quite early, you know. In the early morning yogas, it takes me a little time to wake up. But welcome back to another Facebook Live yoga video. 7:30. Rise and grind. So I hope you're having a lovely week. Happy Wednesday. So every Wednesday at 7:30 I do like an early morning yoga. Usually it's a good morning yoga, so you know, just a focus on waking up the body bit by bit. Today is a little bit different but very similar. So today we're going to be doing a full body beginners yoga, and it's not just for beginners, it's for everybody. All yoga is good yoga, but with this class specifically, we're going to focus on movements that I come back to time and time again. So my foundation postures, the postures that I love, the postures that you are probably going to see in every single one of my yoga classes. I just come back to them all the time. I think they're amazing, and we're going to focus on the whole body. So we're going to do a lot of line stuff, a lot of all four stuff, some standing stuff, and yeah, so this yeah, you're up. That's an achievement in itself. This is going to be quite relatively gentle class, you know. You could do it in your pyjamas. I've got my coffee here as well. Last time I spat it out on camera, so I'm going to try and not do that. Where was I? So yeah, foundation postures, and my aim is I get a lot of messages from people saying they're quite nervous about coming to yoga for whatever reason. I totally understand. So what I wanted to do was just to sort of give people who may be nervous about coming to a class a little bit of an idea of the kind of movements that we do. So today it is going to be a slower pace. There's going to be like less flow between postures, but that doesn't mean the postures are going to be like dead easy. There's definitely some strength work in there because I incorporate a lot of that in my classes. There's some deep passive stretches. Again, I incorporate a lot of those in my classes. So definitely not easy, but slower pace. And as always, if you have any injuries, please just consult your doctor before doing this. If you have any concerns, you need to just check that you're okay to come on to this class. Otherwise, the only thing you'll need today is a strap. You're going to need a yoga strap or a belt or a dressing gown cord or something like that, even a resistance band, because we will be using that. And I think that's it. I feel like I'm going to have some coffee before we begin. I just like doing an early class. I feel like it gets me out of bed as well. I've been lying in quite extremely recently. Try not to spit this coffee out. I couldn't even upload my last class on YouTube because I was like, I cannot have that up there. Live is fine. Like, live's only going to be up for the week, but forever? I don't think so. All right. Okay, that's good. Let's begin. Right, so yes, foundation postures I come back to time and time again. So let's just come onto our backs. The first thing that I love to do in pretty much every single yoga class is I usually start, unless I'm teaching a really full-on sort of class, from a lying position. I don't know why, I just really like the idea of lying down, chilling out, opening the body quite passively before we crack on with other kinds of stuff. There's a lot of great postures you can do from lying, and also very supportive for your lower back as well. So it's just a great way to ease in. So the first thing we're going to do is something I like to do a lot, which is come down onto the backs, bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall out sideways. So this posture is called reclined bound angle. It is a passive stretch, so we are not forcing the knees down. The knees are just falling as far as they want to fall. Very gentle pressure between the soles of the feet to keep the feet together. And then again, the feet, in my case, because it's the morning and we're all a little bit tighter in the morning, so just be mindful of that. In my case, I like to take the feet a little bit further away from the body to make a more of a diamond shape with the legs. So usually in this posture, the further you bring the heels in towards the groin, the deeper the stretch, and then it becomes a little bit gentler the more you move the feet away. And then you place the hands on the belly. You can rest the hands on the inner thighs. We're not pressing the legs down, just adding a bit of extra weight, or you can take the hands either side of the body. Now, if this posture isn't comfortable for whatever reason, you can have the knees bent or you can straighten the legs. I love starting like this. I think it's just an incredibly a sort of like gentle, passive way to open across the pelvis, to stretch into the hips, the groin. The lower back benefits massively, as well as the knees. And the lower back is flat on the floor, the upper body's relaxed, and the chin tucks in towards the chest, so the back of the neck is really long, so the spine lengthens. And then we just have a relax. See, not too scary. Just letting everything melt towards the floor. Bringing the attention into the room, so it's very early on, so hopefully nothing too tragic's happened today. It's quite early, so we've got the whole day ahead of us. So we're just sort of forgetting about what we've got to do later, just putting it to one side, and we'll deal with that afterwards. Just for this 1 hour, focusing on your yoga, focusing on the sensations in your body, and also focusing on your breath. So the breath is really important in yoga, really, really important, more important than the postures. So we want to try and find a slow, steady rhythm, but a rhythm that is sustainable for you, so something you can maintain throughout the whole practice. Trying to make the inhales and exhales equal in length, paying special attention to the exhale, which tends to be a bit quicker, and if possible, breathing through the nose. So breathing through the mouth, sometimes we do it unconsciously, but it creates a much shallower breath. So if we start breathing through the nose, it's going to be easier to find that slow pace we're looking for. And we use the breath to move in and out of postures. We move the breath to deepen postures. So sometimes when you feel like you're on your limit, a couple of deep breaths will allow the muscles to relax. Will sort of sharpen the focus, might allow you to go a little bit further if appropriate. And we also use the breath as a gauge. So if the breath at any point becomes laboured, a little quick, if you can't breathe in a posture, you've definitely gone too far. So it tells us a lot about our physical body, our physical practice. And once you've found that rhythm, we're just going to take the attention around the body, check in. So again, we're establishing that connection with the body right at the beginning. So how do you feel? What sort of mood are you in as well? What areas feel tight? What do you need to be mindful of? And some people also like to set an intention at this stage. You can go ahead and do that. It's a private thing. So maybe dedicating your practice to something, someone. That's a personal preference. I don't always do that. But if you want to, go ahead. Okay, and then we're just going to begin. So very slowly bring the knees together, if they're apart. And then always, every single class, we take a cat stretch. Yes, so cat stretches, point the toes down the mat, arms overhead, lengthen, just make yourself as long as you can. This is going to feel good. This is going to probably be the biggest stretch you've done thus far today, unless you replay this class. So really pointing the toes and lifting the hands, and you're going to feel this real full body stretch, shoulders, lower back, tops of the legs, tops of the feet. And then as you exhale, hug your knees into your chest and rock from side to side. So with this, we're just keeping the back of the head on the floor. We're using the hands around the knees or the shins to make circles. And again, a really great way to undo any tension that may have built up in the lower back. So squeezing the thighs in towards the tummy as you roll. And then just take the feet to the floor. So I just want to reiterate again that the body will be tighter. There's a massive difference between doing yoga in the morning and doing yoga in the evening. We've not actually done a lot of movement, so we're usually a bit stiffer in the morning. So if some of these postures feel challenging, no worries, just roll with it. And then we're going to come into a hip opener. Again, something I do a lot, just a really great foundation posture to work into the hips, the glutes, the piriformis, and this posture is incredible if you suffer from sciatica, so a good one to come back to. Just be mindful of the knees. So we're going to bend the left knee, left foot's going to stay on the floor, and then we're going to cross the right foot over the left thigh. Now this might be enough of a hip opener for you. just drawing that right knee gently back. You're going to feel some sensation in the top of your right leg. Now if you want something a bit deeper, you can come into the posture itself, which is you inhale, pick the left foot up off the floor, and you take the hands or the strap around the back of the left thigh. And this posture, I think it's called thread the needle, eye of the needle, I don't know, something to do with needles. Whatever, it's a good stretch. Now, there's a couple of things to just be aware of in this. We want the back of the head down, we want the shoulders to be rolling down, chest broad, and we don't want to feel like we're pulling the arms out the socket. So if that is you, if the upper body feels super stressed out, just use a strap around the back of that left thigh instead of your hands, okay? So make it easier for yourself. And then the toes, both toes, sets of toes, gently pull back so the feet are active, and then we want to keep the base of the spine down. So if the base of the spine picks up off the floor, it means you're losing that isolated stretch in the right glute, right hip. Then we're just going to hold it here. And when you're in the posture, you're going to take your attention back to the breath, which is slow and steady. Keeping the spine nice and long, so remember we don't want to tilt the chin back, crunch into the neck. And then with every exhale, maybe, over time, the longer you hold it, the more you may be able to draw that left thigh back towards the tummy. But don't worry if it's not moving. The purpose of this posture, any posture, is not to force your body into the most extreme shape it can possibly be in. That's how injuries happen. I've done my fair share of that, so I'm talking from experience. Okay. And then the angle of your shin in this posture will tell you a lot about your hip. So if your right knee is a lot closer towards your body, your foot is further away, it is a sign that the hip is maybe a little bit tight. You're not getting that rotation in the hip. But over time, as the hip opens, that shin becomes a bit more parallel. And if the right knee is okay, you can actually deepen this posture by drawing the right knee down the mat. Maybe if the right elbow is pressing on the inside of the leg, you can use it to push the leg away as you ease the left thigh back. We're just going to hold it here for a few more moments. Okay, and then exhale, just release the left foot down to the floor, but keep the right leg crossed over the left thigh. We're going to take this into one of my favourite twists. So from here, we are going to move the right knee across to the left. So stack the right knee right on top of the left knee. So now the legs are crossed. We're going to take the arms out wide, palms down, so palms flat on the floor. We're going to move our butt over towards the right ever so slightly, just to give us a bit more room to inhale here and then exhale, very lazily let the legs fall over towards the left. And then turn and look over your right shoulder if your neck's okay. So taking that posture into a very passive lion twist. There is a little bit of effort in the legs to keep the knees stacked, and there is a little bit of effort in the right shoulder to keep the right shoulder down. But apart from that, we're just really trying to relax everything. It's not an active posture, we're not squeezing any muscles. And then just a really good stretch into your lower back. It also is quite a good stretch for your right glute as well, you may feel it there. And no effort to get the knees down to the floor. Again, that's not the point of the posture. The point of the posture is to relax. So not forcing, a few more breaths here, settling in. Okay, and then inhale, very lazily back up to centre. Uncross your legs, square your hips up, and maybe give your bent legs a shake. And then we're just going to do that same sequence the other side. So right leg bent this time, right foot on the floor. We're going to cross the left foot over the right thigh again. This may be enough of a stretch for you, feeling that sensation right at the top of the left leg. If you want to come into the posture itself though, you inhale, pick the right foot up off the floor. Oof. And then hands or strap around the back of the right thigh. Now, immediately as I've done this side, I noticed that there is a huge difference, and you may also notice that there is a massive difference between right and left sides. So for example, my left hip is so much tighter than my right. Might be different for you, but we start to notice these things. So we start to notice the differences between the sides, and part of yoga is trying to balance that out, okay? So sort of balancing out the sides, balancing out strength and flexibility, effort and ease, all of that good stuff. And also just to sort of build a body awareness which we can use throughout our everyday lives, and if you do any other sort of movement, then this is going to be really handy to know your strengths, to know your not so strengths. And then just being aware, so checking in, we've got both feet pulling back, toes active, base of the spine down, shoulders down, back of the head down, feeling that huge stretch in your left glute, left hip here. With every exhale, if appropriate, over time, maybe easing the right thigh a little bit closer towards the tummy. Doing a good job. Remember to keep your chin tucked in towards your chest, so the back of the neck is long. Lengthening through the spine, even in a lying posture like this. And you have the option to maybe draw the left knee down the mat if the knee's okay, while you ease the right thigh back. Maybe press the left elbow into the inner left thigh to square the shin up a little bit more. And then we're going to exhale, release. We're just going to drop the right foot to the floor, keep the legs in the position they're in, and then we'll scooch the left knee over towards the right now. So left knee right on top of the right. Move the bum over towards the left this time to give us more room. Arms out wide, palms down. Big inhale here, and as you exhale, let the knees leisurely fall out towards the right, and then turn and look over your left shoulder. Same thing, a little bit of effort in the legs to keep the legs crossed, a little bit of effort in that left shoulder to keep it down. The reason we want the shoulder down is because if we allow the body to twist too much of it, again we're going to lose that isolated stretch in the lower back, across the left glute, left hip. But apart from those tiny things, really just relaxing all the muscles. And then as you inhale, pop yourself back up to center, uncross your legs, and here we come, another cat stretch. Pointing the toes down the mat, arms overhead, lengthen. Make yourself as long as you possibly can. And then exhale, hug your knees into your chest again, rock from side to side and make circles. Undoing the tension in the lower back. I'm going to have some coffee. Feel free to have a coffee or a tea, wherever you want it, throughout this class. This is a very chill class today. So, a couple more lying postures. This is a theme probably in a lot of my classes, and I like to build the body up. I like to wake the body up bit by bit. So, coming onto your backs again. The next thing we're going to do is a hamstring stretch, a little hamstring stretch sequence that I like to come back to. So we're going to have the knees bent, we're going to leave the left knee bent, left foot on the floor, and this time we're going to take the back of the right thigh, and then as you inhale, we're just going to extend that right leg up towards the ceiling. Yes, so this might feel a little bit brutal, you know, so early in the morning, but give it your best shot. And again, if the upper body starts to feel super tense, this is where you would use a strap or something similar around the back of the right thigh. And we're just going to hold it here. Hamstring stretch. It's more important the right leg is straight than dead vertical. That's one thing. So if you find that you're trying to yank the leg back and the knee is sort of excessively bending, then just lower the leg and see if you can straighten it. That way we're going to get a better stretch in the calf, the hamstring, and then just really work those right toes back. So the leg is quite strong here. The left foot is just resting on the floor. Again, with every exhale, maybe over time as the back of the leg wakes up, you just work the right toes a little bit higher up towards the face. And I should also mention that shaky leg is totally normal. So if your leg is shaking, that's okay. It just means that it's working. So a big part of what I say a yoga practice, like an intelligent yoga practice, is to start to differentiate between like pain. So sometimes when something hurts, it can hurt in a variety of ways. So sharp and shooting pain we want to avoid, but these sort of intense stretches that can be quite uncomfortable, they're not necessarily a bad thing. Again, the same with sort of burny sensations. If you're activating muscles, just means the muscle is working. Different to cramp, which you'll know about. So sometimes people mistake cramp for muscles working, sometimes people say things hurt, but in a good way, which can be quite confusing as a teacher. Someone says something hurts, but in a good way. So we're trying to just expand our vocabulary so we can describe pain in lots of different ways, and actually that's quite helpful to be able to do off the mat as well, really. Okay, enough chatting. So from here, what we're going to do, if appropriate for your body, if it feels good, is we're going to bring the groin into it by, as you inhale, extend the left leg down the mat. So now we've got both legs straight. It actually makes it a little bit harder to keep that right leg where it is, so you may find you need to just relax the right leg a little bit. If your groin is tight, that's usually what happens. And then from this position, I want you to work both toes back, get both legs as straight as you can, and then see if you can push that left calf down into the floor. Again, if the groin is tight, the left calf may lift. It's not a big deal, but over time, let's just see if we can press it down. Shoulders are still relaxed. Still maybe working the right leg back. Keeping the chest broad. A few more moments here. Okay, now, this is where the strength bit comes into it. So, we're going to just wake the tops of the legs up and the core up a little bit. And a lot of my classes are strength-based. So, when you come to a class, you'll see these movements quite a lot. There'll also be a lot of strength work in them. So now what we're going to do is have a little look at your right foot. The right foot's going to stay where it is. We're going to release the hands and place the hands either side of the body, keeping that right leg up as strong and as straight as you can get it. So this is your right hip flexor is working, psoas especially, to draw the right leg higher above the face. So we're trying to see if we can just not let the right foot travel closer to the floor, at least keep the height. And then the quad is also working to help keep that leg straight. So nice, slow, steady breaths. Don't forget about the left foot. So keeping that left foot active. And then we'll hold it here for 5. 4, still keeping the breath steady if possible. 3, so that's our constant. 2, and 1. Now don't put the right leg down. We can actually make this a little bit more challenging if you choose. On your next inhale, maybe lift the left leg up off the floor a few inches so that left leg is hovering. So now we're scissoring the legs, still seeing if we can move the right leg back. Should start to feel a little bit of work in your core for 5. 4, it's a bit brutal early on, isn't it? 3, but it's a foundation posture for me. 2, and 1. So don't lower the legs unless you're knackered. The last stage of this posture, if you want to give it a go, is as you inhale, we're going to lift the nose up towards the knee. We're going to extend the arms parallel, palms face each other, and then we're going to see if we can work those right toes back more. For 5, legs are straight. 3, 4, 3, definitely working the core here. 2, and 1, then relax, relax, relax. Legs down, head down. Give your legs a shake. You can take a cat stretch between the sides if you choose, if that would feel good, or you can just stop and maybe have a mouthful of coffee like what I'm doing. Lovely. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the other side. So to begin with, again in yoga I like to work my way up, so I like to basically move through the stages up to the most challenging. Now the beauty of this is that you can stop at any stage that you want. Although I'm saying to do things, if it doesn't feel good, you stop anywhere on the journey, and that's literally the case for all of my classes. You are your own best teacher, you know your body best. If something I say doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to do it, okay? So it's a two-way thing. So let's change sides. We're going to keep the right foot on the floor, right knee bent, and then we're going to take the back of the left thigh, and then as you inhale, let's extend that left leg up towards the ceiling. Again, you may notice that one side feels a lot different, a lot tighter. So just checking in, and then remembering our action point. So we've got the right foot resting on the floor, got the shoulders down, chin tucked in, chest is broad. And more important, that left leg is straight than dead vertical. So I've got quite a few people around who, and I think this is the case for everybody. Sometimes people feel like using props is cheating. It really isn't. Okay, using props is an intelligent thing to do. Sometimes, well, in most cases, most of the times, it's better to use a prop to be able to experience the posture than come into something that isn't the posture without the prop, if that makes sense. Now in Ashtanga, the style of yoga I teach, we don't use props all that often because there is a tendency also to become over-reliant on props. So you've got to use them intelligently, you've got to know when you need them, when it's going to make your practice more accessible, better, and when you're just becoming a little bit too friendly with the props. Again, something that happens over time. We learn. Doing a good job. Keep working those left toes back. Maybe draw that leg back a little bit more, provided the leg can stay straight. Feeling that huge stretch, left calf, left hamstring, left glute. And then we're just going to, on your next inhale, extend the right leg down the mat, so now both legs are straight as you can get them. Again, if your groin is tight, you may need to lower that left leg slightly to keep it strong. And then you may just want to see if you can root down through the right calf as well. Right calf may lift if the groin is tight. Keep the right toes facing the ceiling. Keep the breath steady. Doing a very good job. Few more moments here. Alright, and then we're going to bring that strength work into it. So have a little look at your left foot. We're going to see if we can keep the height. At the very least, see if we can keep the height. Maybe move the left toes back if possible. Either way, leave the leg where it is. Take the hands either side of the body, and now that left hip flex is working hard to draw the leg backwards, and the left quad's working hard to keep the leg straight. So it's almost immediately feeling the top of the left leg start to heat up. Keep your jaw relaxed. See if you can keep your shoulders relaxed as well. Sometimes they want to tense up when things get hard. And then holding it here for 5, deep even breaths. 4, keep those toes pulling back. 3, 2, and 1, lovely. So staying here, maybe taking an easier variation if it's all getting a bit too much, or deepening the posture by, as you inhale, lifting your right leg off the floor just a few inches, scissoring the legs. Pulling both toes back. Let's get both legs as strong as possible. Then see if you can work those left toes a little bit higher towards the face for 5. Feeling the core come into play. 4. Doing a good job. 3. 2. And 1. Okay, so making this posture maybe a little bit harder. You can stop at any stage you want. On your next inhale, if you're going to go for it, then you lift your nose up towards your knee, palms face one another, and then the belly's working very hard here. See if you can work those left toes back a little bit more for 5. 4, I am shaking. 3, 2, and 1. on, relax, 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 relax. All right, lovely. So at this point we will take a cat stretch. So point the toes down the mat, arms overhead, lengthen. So like I said, strengthening and lengthening muscles in yoga is paramount. We don't want to get really, really, really strong, but really, really, really tight. And we don't want to get really, really, really flexible and then really loose. So we were just contracting the muscles in the core, tops of the legs, and with this cat stretch, we are stretching them back out. So should feel quite nice. And then as you exhale, just hug your knees into your chest and make those circles again. So something I like to do a lot between lying postures, just to help keep the back mobile, just to keep us moving just a little bit, you know, just a little bit while we're lying down. Okay, and then take your feet to the floor for the last lion posture. So, we're half hour in and we've literally just been on our backs. You can fill up hundreds of classes just from postures on your back. So, it really is, there's really a wealth of postures to explore. And that's what I love about yoga, is if you do have a bad back, and you find traditional gym work or core work challenging, then there's so much you can do from a lying position, very supportive, to strengthen your core, okay? So that is a really sort of a good thing. And if you do suffer from bad back and you want to work your core, there's loads of lying postures. Hit me up because I'll be able to help you out. Right, I haven't spat my coffee out yet, which is good. So we're going to need the strap for this one. We're only going to do it once, okay? Usually I like to do this a couple of times, but just because I've got so much to show you and I'm so slow, we're going to do it once. So this posture is a sort of slightly easier version of an Ashtanga posture called Supta Padangusthasana. And it's a little bit different. We do things a little bit differently. We make it a little bit easier. It's more of a sort of a yin-y sort of style of doing it. So you'll need a strap or something similar, and let's just come down onto our backs. Now, you can leave the left knee bent, left foot on the floor if that feels more supportive for you. Otherwise, we're going to extend the left leg down the mat and then work the left toes back again. Just see if you can ground down through that left calf. From here, we're going to place the right foot in the strap, and then we are going to lengthen the strap so the back of the right arm's on the floor and the right shoulder rolls down. So really important to keep this right shoulder area quite relaxed. We don't want to be tense, okay? Back of the head down, and then we are going to put the left hand on the left hip. I don't know if I said this, but we're going to keep the left toes pulling back to begin with. Now in Ashtanga you actually point the left toes, but today we'll have them pulling back. Left hand and left hip, that's it. That's it, we're set up. Now we've already worked into the hamstring quite a lot, so we're not going to hold this for too long. Breath steady. Now over time, as the longer we practice yoga, eventually what you can do is you can move the hand up the strap. You can actually eventually aim to take hold of the big toe and do this like that. But the thing is if you take the hand up the strap, we still want the right shoulder to be pulling down. Even if you take the toe, while the back of the arm may lift, actually will lift, you still want the right shoulder to be coming down. So at no point is the back of the head and the right shoulder waking up off the floor. I mean, if your hamstrings feel up to it, go ahead and do that. Just be mindful that we don't want to be tense in that area. Now, holding it here. In a minute, what we're going to do is we're going to take the right leg out to the right. What is absolutely 100% going to happen is that the body is going to want to roll over to the right. What we're going to do is we're going to use that left hand on the hip as a measure. So we're going to see if we can keep the left bum cheek down, left hip down, the lower back pressing down into the floor. So again, an arch will want to lift. And as soon as we feel the left hip pick up, we've taken the leg a bit too far, you need to bring it higher up towards centre. So left hand is acting as a gauge for us. So take a big inhale here, and then as you exhale, let's very slowly with control, no need to rush, take that right leg out to the side. Now as soon as you feel that left hip pick up, then you need to bring the leg a bit higher up towards centre. If we roll over to the right, you're losing the stretch, which you should obviously be feeling the inside of the right thigh, so groin area, working into the hips, the hamstrings. Now if your neck's okay, you're going to gently turn your head and look over your left shoulder, and then just hold it here. So a really good posture for working the hips especially. Keeping the lower back pressing down into the floor. Nice, slow, steady breath. So quite an intense stretch, but doing a good job. And really that leg does not have to come out very far at all. If it's only moving like a little bit, absolutely fine. Again, you can't rush these things. Could you imagine if like someone came along and stood on my leg or something? It's going to really kill me. So you don't want to rush this. You just need to give the muscles time to relax, the muscles time to release. We've had lifetimes of being tense. So we're not going to cure things with one yoga class. It takes consistent practice. Now, instead of thinking about getting the foot to the floor, if you want to deepen the posture, think about picking the toes up a little bit higher towards the ear, so that upward lift deepens the stretch. And we'll hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So don't come up to centre, just turn your head and have a little look at your right foot. So again, this is how I incorporate strength work into these postures. So we're going to leave the right leg where it is with that right leg out to the side, and then we're going to release the strap. Now I like to place the hands on the belly, but just get the hands out the way. You can place them either side of the body, and then we're hovering that right leg. So your adductor muscles are going to be working really hard. Everything's working really hard to keep the leg in the position it's in. Take the attention to the breath. Now don't allow the body to roll over to the right. So still keep grounding down through that left hip. Hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now as slowly as you possibly can, let's bring that leg back up to centre without using the strap to help. And then take the foot out the strap, straighten the legs and give the legs a little shake. Lovely job. Great posture. Well, we've got another leg to do. I need to switch sides because I've got a thing here, a radiator here, which is on today, and I'm not moaning about it. It's a little bit cold, isn't it? Oh. Let's do the other side. Right. I'm so slow. Maybe I'm in the wrong style of yoga. Maybe Ashtanga isn't my jam. Maybe Yin's my jam. But Ashtanga is 100% my jam. Right. So right knee bent or right leg straight, up to you. Either way, taking the left foot in the strap and then lengthening that strap so the back of the right arm's on the floor to begin with, and we'll keep that right shoulder down. Right toes pulled back, right calf on the floor if possible, and then right hand and right hip. We're here. We've set the posture up. Easy peasy. Okay, so working into the back of the legs here, and sometimes I actually like to hold this for a little bit longer too, just to work that area a bit more. But we're not going to do that today. We should crack on. So you can move the hands up the strap. You can take the toe, you can do whatever you like, but as long as you keep that left shoulder rolling down rather than whoosh, picking up. Got the right hand on the right hip. Really important. Sometimes there's so much going on, people forget to do this, but this is really important so we know if we've taken the leg out a little bit too far. So big inhale here, then as you exhale, let's just very slowly, move mindfully, take that leg out towards the left. Okay, and you will feel when you need to stop. It's a lot harder for me this side to keep my right hip down because my left leg is tighter, left hip is tighter. So I need to take my leg up a little bit higher. Okay, and then if comfortable, you're going to turn and look over your right shoulder. Now really root that right hip down. If there is a gap underneath your lower back, press it down. So real tendency to arch the back in this as well, but we want it flat. And then feeling that really huge stretch on the inside of the left groin, hamstring, hip. And still seeing if we can keep broad across the chest. If you wanted to deepen the posture, it's picking the toes up higher towards the ear rather than dropping the foot towards the floor. If your foot is on the floor, I'm going to challenge you, I do this all the time. If your foot's on the floor, unless like you are literally a gymnast, I'm going to say that there is a massive tendency that you are rolled over too much towards the left. So unless you've got like a supernatural groin, you practice yoga very, very consistently, or you're like a gymnast or a dancer, you do need to challenge yourself if that foot is on the floor. I'm not saying you can't do it, I'm just saying double check, okay? Double check that that right hip is down. And then we'll hold it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so have a little look at your left foot. We're going to come into that strength work, keeping the left leg where it is, avoiding rolling over towards the left and release the strap. So now abductor muscles working really hard to hold that leg. Placing your hands on the tummy, you can place the hands either side of the body. I like to look up in this posture, and then hold it here for 5, 4, keep drawing that right hip down, 3, 2, and 1. All right, as slowly as you possibly can, let's bring that leg back up. Take your foot out the strap, put your strap to one side, and then we'll all take a cat stretch. So point toes down the mat, arms overhead, lengthen. And then exhale, hug knees into chest, rock from side to side, make circles. Brilliant, lovely job. And then when you're ready, just rock up, finally, into all fours. I just looked at the time, I was like, what? I was like, 5, 10, 15, I have 20 minutes left. I'm literally like 3 postures in. What have I been doing this whole time? I need to crack it up. So we might not do all my foundation postures today. Oh my God, this should be like a 2-hour beginners class. I'm gonna do part 2 beginners sequence next week, don't worry. That's it, I could just split them in half. This is part 1 and the next week is part 2. Oh, I could do beginners every week. I feel like because it's the morning and I'm slow, I like to chat, I like to have coffee. This is more like a coffee type yoga meet-up type thing. Anyway, we've got time to make it halfway through what I wanted to do. So, next posture. Absolutely adore, absolutely love, beautiful posture. Cat-cows. Do them almost every single yoga class. I can find a reason to put a cat-cow in. Fantastic way to work into the muscles in your back, to increase the mobility of your spine, to work the shoulders, to work the front of the body. Beautiful. So come into all fours, fingers spread underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and if possible, tops of the feet on the floor. Now from this position, as you inhale, we lift the hips, lift the chest, look forward. So we come into a little back bend here, belly sinks, hips lift. And then as you exhale, we tuck the hips under, drop the head, push into the hands and arch the spine up towards the ceiling so the chin tucks in towards the chest. Then inhale, lifts the hips, lifts the chest. You look forward, little back bend. And then as you exhale, you round. So really push into the hands and feel that lovely stretch across your shoulders, upper back. And then keep moving. So the whole of the slow inhale lifts the chest, belly drops, look forward, back bend. And then the whole of the exhale arches the spine up towards the ceiling. So everyone moves at a different pace in this, so keep going, use your own breath. And I always like to say, sort of exaggerate the movements as much as possible without causing pain. So again, the depth is really down to your back. If you have back problems, you might find it trickier, especially on that back bend. But we just do what we can, we make the movements we can, but just seeing if maybe we can go a little bit deeper every time, if appropriate. And I always say the spine doesn't get to move like this very often. Like, when do you do this? When do we move our backs like this? So this is, back bends are so important. And this is one of the gentlest ways that we can do them, very supported. Okay, taking a couple more rounds of this. I won't rest until everyone loves cat-cow as much as me. Okay, and then on the end of your next exhale, just come to a flat back, okay, no need to rush, and then we're going to come straight into a twist and hip opener. So from this all four position, as you inhale, let's take the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Alright, so really important, because there's a couple of postures I do from all fours that are hip openers. For this one, make sure that left knee is right underneath the left hip. So you may likely need to move it forward. There is another posture we're going to do afterwards where we take the leg back, but for today we keep the knee under the hip in this posture. We're going to keep the right knee over the ankle, right toes face forward. And then it's really important as well to see if we can keep the hips facing forward. So something that happens quite a lot is the hips try to twist with this, but we are trying to get the twist all from the mid-upper back region. So not the hips. And then as you inhale, what we're going to do is we're going to look forward, extend the spine. Now keep that right knee hugging the midline, and then as you exhale, turning the waist, raise the right hand, look up. All four twist. Yes. It is a twist, it's very good for your back, but it is also a hip opener, so you may be feeling some sensation in the top of your right leg as we open up into that hip. Again, something that happens a lot is the right knee wants to fall out sometimes, so it's gently squeezing inward. And then just make sure that your hips are facing forward, that you've not come into some sort of weird hip thing. And then really reaching the right fingertips up towards the ceiling, so the left hand is quite light on the floor. So not bearing down too heavy in that wrist, trying to extend the chest straight upwards, looking up, gently twisting into the neck, holding it here. Good, and then as you exhale, just lower that right hand down. Now, stay here with the right leg forward. We're going to come into the twist left hand side. This is going to feel totally different, you'll be surprised. So as you inhale, stretch the spine forward, and then exhale, turning the waist, raise the left hand, look up. Woo! Totally different posture. All of a sudden that stretch comes into the inside of the right leg, so your groin area, a little bit more wobbly. Just make sure those hips are facing forward, and then really reaching the left hand up, so right hand is light on the floor. Same thing, totally different vibe to the posture. Breath steady, opening the chest up as much as possible, so there's a real lightness to this posture. And then exhale, bring the left hand down. Amazing. Now keep the legs where they are, so we've still got the right foot forward. We're just going to take this into a slightly deeper hip opener. So from here I want you to turn your right foot out 90 degrees. Maybe 45 if 90 degrees isn't happening today. Be mindful of that knee. And then press down through the sole of the right foot. So already feeling a much deeper opening in the top of the right leg, the hip area. And this may be where you want to stay, just gently grounding through the right foot. If you fancy something a little bit deeper, you're going to slowly start to bend your elbows, maybe sink down, maybe come down onto forearms. Again, this is something you can't rush. If it's not happening, no need to worry. Something you can do if you have blocks or a fat book or something is to place the forearms a little bit higher on a stack of blocks. But straight arms is perfect, okay? And just let the head relax, keep pushing down through the right foot. And if hips are tight, something that happens quite often is it tends to pull into the knees. So you always need to be mindful of knees and hip postures. A few more breaths here. And then inhale, come up onto straight arms. Just square those right toes back up, facing forward, and then step into all fours. Lovely. And we'll come straight into the other side. So as you inhale, let's step the left foot to the outside of the left hand, left knee over the ankle, keep that left leg hugging inwards, and then just make sure that right knee is in fact underneath the right hip, so don't take it back too far. I'm quite far forward on my mat, aren't I? Good, so setting the foundation up, I'm a big fan of doing that. And then inhale, look forward, lengthen, and then exhale, turning the waist, raise the left hand, look up. Okay, so this is the slightly less gnarly version of the posture, but we're still keeping the hips facing forward, all the rotation coming from mid-upper spine, then reaching the left fingertips up so right hand is light on the floor, and really trying to rotate the chest, almost like we're trying to get it to face the ceiling. So real lovely posture, twist and hip opener. So this side feeling Very likely some sort of stretch right at the top of your left leg, so your hip. Nice slow breathing through the nose, steady rhythm. And then exhale, bring that hand down, and we'll come into the other side. So inhale, you stretch the spine forward, and then exhale, turn in the waist. Raise the right hand, look up. Much different feel to the posture, a little bit more wobbly, a bit of a deeper stretch on the inside of the left thigh, now left groin. Just make sure those hips are facing forward. Something I like to do in a lot of postures to check is actually to take a hand to the small of my back to see what direction my hips are facing. And then really working the right fingertips up, left hand light on the floor. And then exhale, bring that hand down, lovely. And then we're going to take it into that slightly deeper hip posture by turning your left foot out 90 degrees. If 90 degrees isn't happening, just turning it out as far as you can. And then pressing down through the sole of the left foot. This is all it takes to make it a deeper posture, to feel that sensation in the top of the left leg. But if you choose, you can bend the elbows, you can come down onto forearms and then let the head totally relax. Really, really old, deep old stretch in the left hip. Doing a good job. Again, a passive posture, but not an easy posture. So passive postures just mean muscles aren't activating. It doesn't mean they're easy. So when I say passive, don't get complacent. A class full of passive stretches can be a real killer. Keep pressing down through the left heel, a few more moments. Good, and then as you inhale, let's just make your way up. Onto straight arms, turn your toes to face forward again, step back into all fours, and we're going to take a child's pose. So feet together, knees as wide as the mat, sink your bum down towards your heels. And with child's pose, we're trying to get the bum and the heels as close together as possible before lowering the body down. Okay? So that bum drawing back towards the heels is what creates the stretch in the back. Be mindful of your knees. Much like how we started, this is a lovely passive stretch into your groin and your hips. Now your fingers crawl forward. You can stay upright actually if you don't want to lower down for whatever reason, or you can come down onto forearms, or you can come down onto forehead, straight arms. If your hips are opening enough, feel free to come down chin and chest, as long as your chest bone can hit the mat. So you've got a lot of options, and then holding it here. And we're just going to bring a shoulder stretch into this actually as well. So one thing I really love to do is this. So from your child's pose, okay, what we're going to do is we are going to thread the right arm underneath the left arm. So we're still drawing the bum down towards the heels. We've still got the feet together, knees wide. And then we're going to thread the right arm underneath the left arm. The right cheek is going to come on the floor, and then we're going to look left. We're going to crawl the left fingertips forward, and we're going to draw that left armpit down towards the floor. This is quite a deep shoulder stretch as well as a twist across the upper back. So just doing your best. If it feels uncomfortable, just come back to child's pose. Hopefully feels quite nice if you're doing this early on in the day to wake up the shoulder area. Okay, and then just unthread your arms, so both arms face forward, and we'll do the same thing the other side. So threading the left arm underneath the right, left cheek on the floor, looking right, crawling the right fingertips forward, maybe drawing that right armpit down and feeling that huge stretch left shoulder, still drawing the bum down towards the heels. Okay, so a bit of a tendency for the bum to want to lift at this point, but just see if you can gently keep it pulling back. Nice, slow, steady breaths. Okay, and then inhale, arms back to center. Lovely. Just hang out in child's pose just for a second, just for a couple more counts. And then inhale, when you're ready, come up into all fours and then just make your way onto your back. So, honestly, I've got this whole class plan, got half of it done. Maybe not even half, maybe a quarter of it done. So I'm going to turn this beginner yoga thing into a series, so don't worry about it. It's now my new thing, Wednesday morning, beginner's yoga. So, no rush, we're just going to explore the foundation postures for as long as lockdown lasts. But for now, we're going to come down onto our backs. We are going to hug the knees into the chest. We're going to rock about. And the last thing we're going to do is a couple of lying twists, because who does not love a lying twist? So we've already explored one earlier on with the knee stack. So these are just a couple more. Now I know loads of lying twists. I know some really gnarly ones as well that are really strong. But we're just going to build our way up slowly. So we can look at them another time. But today we're going to look at the passive ones. Again, really lovely postures to do if you get a bad back. So take your arms out wide, palms down, feet and knees together. Feet on the floor to begin with, big inhale here, then as you exhale, let the legs fall over towards the right, very passively. And then just turn and look over your left shoulder. So there is no need to get the legs to the floor. There is no need to keep the knees together if they want to fall apart. The only thing we're trying to do is keep that left shoulder down. Just sinking down into the posture, really relaxing. And there's quite a few places you may feel this. A couple common places are left hip, so top of the left leg, lower back, groin. You may feel it in your side body as well. Okay, lovely. Then inhale back to center, and then on the exhale, let's just let the legs drop over towards the left. Turn and look over the right shoulder. Only bit of effort in this posture is to keep that right shoulder down. So apart from that, you're just having a lie down, really. You're not just having a lie down, you're focusing on your breath and you're relaxing into the posture and noticing the sensations in your body. just having a lie down. Okay, just holding it here. Totally relaxed. Okay, and then inhale, come back to center. All right, I think that's all we've got time for. So we're going to come into Shavasana now. So Shavasana is literally the last posture I always do. Well, the last posture everyone does. It's the last posture in yoga. It's a corpse pose. Now, it means that you take your legs straight down the mat, or you have your knees bent, if that is more comfortable. And then you can just bring the hands a little way away from the body, palms facing up, and you literally just lie down like this and have a rest. So it's lots of things in Shavasana that people use it for. So firstly, you're letting the body wind down after all the work you've done. It's a chance for the heart rate to come back to normal. And some people like to get a little bit wacky with their Shavasanas. You know, it's a chance for the body to reabsorb the energy. It's a chance for the energy that we've built up to move through the body, to rejuvenate it, whatever. Just use Shavasana however you want to use it. You can take that sort of more sort of like spiritual side of it, or you can just take the fact that it's a rest, all right, after all the work. We haven't done a lot of heart building, sweaty stuff today, but we do often do that in my classes. So Shavasana is a great opportunity to relax. And I want you to just hold it here. I want you to take your attention around the body, check in and see how you feel compared to the beginning of the class, hopefully better. I want you to release any tension that you're still feeling. So shoulders relax. Sometimes we think the shoulders are relaxed and they're not, so make sure they are. And then a couple of things in Shavasana. We're not forcing the feet to fall out sideways. They naturally start to fall out sideways as the hips begin to open. And we want the palms facing up. So with the palms up, it means the shoulders can roll down. If the palms are down, it means the shoulders sort of come into forward a bit. So everything's very open. All right? A few more breaths here. I don't want to put anyone back to bed with a long shavasana. So, bring some movement into your fingers and toes. The last thing we do is take another cat stretch. So point your toes down the mat, arms overhead, lengthen. And then exhale, hug your knees into your chest, rock from side to side and make circles, okay? At this point, you do whatever feels good for your lower back. And then when you're ready, you can pop yourselves up to seated. All right, beginner's yoga. I cannot believe it took me an hour to get through a quarter of my class plan. I'm not lying, that's quite excessive. Definitely move a bit slower in the morning. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn Wednesday morning good morning yoga into Wednesday morning beginner's yoga. And every week we are gonna look at my fundamental, my foundation postures. So we're just gonna keep coming back to postures that I do again and again and again. We probably, no, we're going to keep it beginners. We're going to keep it beginners. We're not going to build up. We're not going to make it anything crazy. If you want crazy classes, you can look on my Facebook page because I have plenty coming up. But yeah, Wednesday morning, beginners yoga. We got through quarter of my class plan. Next week we'll do another quarter and we'll just keep going until we finished it. So foundation postures. Share this with your friends. Share this with your beginner friends. Get them coming to yoga. Just bear in mind that these postures are that it does get a lot harder in the classes. We'll pick up the pace maybe a little bit. Anyway, that's enough talking. Thank you for joining me. Come back next week for more beginner stuff. Share it with your friends, and I hope you have a really lovely day. All right. You enjoyed watching it. Yeah, it was quite a relaxing class. I can't believe it took me so long to get through. Looking at the clock, I was like, oh my god, we've been lying down for half hour. 3 postures has taken me half hour, 35 minutes. Move a little bit slower. Right, I'm off. Right, see you later. Bye.